Hello everyone! Our stream is about to start. I'm currently by myself. Geflügel will join us on Skype in a couple of minutes, so we'll just wait for a short time for people to arrive and the usual thing, you know. So, gotta close the Twitch here, gotta do something here. So, yeah, we got some background music in the background, I hope. Oh wait, something is wrong with this chat list I'm seeing. What the? Seriously? Oh my, gotta... Yeah, here we go. That's better. Okay, so we got the chat in the stream now too. Awesome. So, let's just hope that Hannah Geflügel will arrive soon as well. And then we can start our program. So, how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing fine. Had a nice week? Yeah, so... Like, we are pretty busy these days. Actually, this week a lot of stuff happened. On the one side, on the other side, not too much stuff happened because Stefan was very busy moving. That's actually something we kind of miscalculated. He was very busy a lot of days last week, and that's why on one end we didn't get too much stuff done. So that means that now next week we'll be especially busy, since we have to now try to get as close to our milestone as we planned. But we'll see how far we get. I mean, it's hard to avoid crunch times in game development anyway, so yeah, we are about to hit the crunch time. So, right. Not sure where Geflügel is, what he's up to right now, but if he won't show up in a couple of minutes, I guess we can just start like this and hope he will arrive soon enough. Whoop. No, don't what? Oh, seriously? That still happens? There are still Windows machines out there which force restart? Oh man. No, Atlas, I think we are fine. I think Hannah just told me that he will be late a few minutes, so we should be okay. In the beginning there's not too much stuff going on anyway, so guess we'll be fine. It's not like he's lazy, it's more like he's just something came up, I guess, in the last minute. He was ready, but then something happened. Okay. Yes, Henne is Geflügel. Actually, I probably should clear this up. It's just an old habit of mine. I just call him Henne all the time. So his nick is Geflügel, Henning, Hartmann, Henne. Yeah. It's kind of like a chicken. Henne means chicken in, well, a female. Chicken is female, I don't know. It's like a chicken in German, yeah. More or less. You added clouds. There haven't been clouds already? Okay, that's cool. I didn't notice. No, I didn't check yet. Probably should update before we start doing stuff. Yes, a hen. That's the word. Right. What's the difference between a chicken and a hen? Somebody knows that? Wait, I did update. Did you push, Stefan? I don't see anything. Uh, so yeah. Okay, I guess Hannah is ready too, so I will call him now. Doop-de-doop. Vortex Robo sending me very strange messages I don't really understand. Something about trees. I don't get it. So yeah, calling Hannah. I guess he's ready. I will mute my Skype now. Hello Hannah. Or Geflügel. Yes, he always does this whenever I call him. I don't know. He just...
It's official Skype theme, don't you know?
No.
Hello, Felix, and other people that might be crazy enough to listen to us.
Yes.
Welcome to my show, the Geflügel Comes Late show.
Yes. Wait, no.
You wouldn't believe what I just experienced.
Tell us all about it.
Yes, well, you see, I felt the completely natural urge to go to the toilet and do toilet things, so I did. The end.
This is the best reason. Okay,
Yes.
so you see that's why that Hannah was late today. I guess it's like everybody knows that reason very well, so
Yes.
there we go. Yeah, so I guess we already waited enough time for people to get in. Maybe somebody should tweet about it. Stefan, did you maybe do this already? Let me just check. Tell all the social media that we are about to stream.
You mean all the social media, like MySpace and...
No, MySpace
And-
doesn't count anymore. Yeah, well,
and-
Twitter and Facebook
and-
is enough, I guess.
What else does exist here in Germany? Like Wer kennt wen? I'm not sure if that
Yep,
still exists.
Twitter is
or-
already covered. Yeah, thanks, Stefan. Okay. Yeah,
Okay, I'm
okay.
just gonna go into the
German social networks, not really. used to-
Knuddels. I think still exists, but I'm not sure if it's really a social network.
Okay. Right. So, first of all, Hannah, you don't really hear that, but I have some background music playing in the background. I keep saying that. So maybe people wonder what it is, and that's actually a little surprise because it's just recently got in. It's the new Rookie Harbor theme. I mean, that's what Intero is currently working on. This is a work in progress version. It's not finished yet, but you can already hear in what direction that music will go. It's very relaxed theme and stuff. So
You mean it's better than the placeholder theme?
yes, by
No,
all
it's-
means,
It can't be.
it must be.
We should play the placeholder theme for a comparison. But no, wait, we can't because it's copyrighted or something.
Yeah, probably. Let me just send you the link actually, so that you can listen to it. Actually, in fact, I would just be so bold, and I'm not sure I can send it in the chat because Intero might kill me for that. He doesn't like it that I play his work in progress stuff. So sorry guys, no link today, but you can try to record the stream without talking in the background. But yeah, anyway, that you will get
Good
this.
luck.
You get this track soon enough, probably like beginning of July when the next version is released. So I like it a lot already. It's very relaxed and it's a good music to start a stream.
By the way, we have great timing again today because we are streaming at the same time as Decay.
Oh
so-
gosh, okay, so very few viewers today, I guess, again.
No,
Alright.
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess he's just playing Destiny, so maybe the game will at least scare some people.
Okay, we'll see. Alright, so I'll stop the music now because this is the music, let's stream. And people might get crazy if they listen to this song for another 2 hours.
They should rather listen to the placeholder music, just as we did when.
Then they
playtest.
probably will get crazy after half an hour already. So,
Or something.
yes. Hello
Hello.
everyone, we have another CrossCode dev stream today. I am Felix aka Laxen, and with me in Skype again is Geflügel aka Henne.
Hello.
So,
Oh wait, I should.
so it's same as usual, almost like These days we are kind of taking turns with Stefan and Hannah being with me in Skype. But actually sometime soon, I'm pretty sure Stefan will do his own stream because now he has proper internet. He also should have a good desk now, so everything he needs. He also has a very awesome microphone since yesterday, I think, or something. So a lot of he's like perfectly equipped to do the stream himself now, I guess. So it probably will happen, hopefully. That means I can do some other stuff too, like answer questions instead, or I don't know. Yes, so what will we do today? First of all, we're gonna answer the cross-central questions, and that will be very quick because there are no new questions. So just as a reminder instead, so everybody who is actually has something on his mind, wants to, or his or her mind, wants to ask us something about the development, about CrossCode, about whatever. I mean, you can just ask us anything. We will respond to it pretty much, unless it's in a way that we don't really like to answer it. We might skip it, but maybe mention it. Anyway, so whatever comes to your mind, ask it. That is if you got the Watcher perk, because like Watcher perk people should have something for their money. So we said, yeah, everybody with Watcher perk or above, they can submit us questions. Just log into Cross Central. Up there is the Watcher option, and there you can submit any question you like. And we will answer that in the stream, like usually right at the beginning, so you don't have to wait for too long to see it. And once we are done with that, we come to the part where we just do game development. That's something we will start right away today, I guess. And then at the end, we are just drawing some nonsense, as usual. That's because it's fun. So,
the best part.
Yes, the best part. So today I actually have something very specific in mind for what we will do in development, and that's we will actually implement a new enemy. That's also because somebody asked us how it actually works. How do we implement enemies in the first place? Last time we actually did graphics for an enemy. We created the new snow bunny. And today we will implement another enemy, which is called the Seahorse fly. T3 just recently submitted the graphics for the enemy. They might not be perfect and complete yet, but they're good enough to create something.
Is it the enemy that shoots cheese?
Maybe it will. Actually, there are no projectile graphics yet, so we might just do this thing where it just shoots some cheese, at least for that stream. We probably will have replaced it, but we can do a special cheese attack shooting move. That's actually no problem at all.
I mean, maybe there's palette swapped mini boss versions that shoots cheese.
That sounds like the perfect idea. Okay. So that's something I want to do. So again, I guess today there's no voting, unfortunately, because I'm pretty fixed on doing that. Mostly because we have to do this soon anyway, and we're getting close to the milestone, so I want to do something that we actually need to do. I mean, another option would be that I could create NPC graphics. I just restarted another machine, whatever. It's not important. Yeah, we could do NPC graphics. That's another thing we could do. But I actually think creating the enemy is more interesting, because otherwise it would be just, again, more pixel art. And today you actually see some coding, and you will see our awesome editor for enemies. Well, it's actually not that awesome, but it's very useful. And I mean, I just created 2 enemies this week, and I know that it's actually a very quick process, so I think we can create a full enemy during this stream. I'm pretty positive we get some results at least. So that's awesome. So again, there will be another poll. Let me guess, it's a creating enemy or a hedgehog sandwich. Am I right?
No, it's even better. It's just new enemy or new enemy.
I'm disappointed, Atlas. Where's the hedgehog sandwich? You gotta fix that. Yeah, so please give your vote. Vote for new enemy, or new enemy. It's the best selection today. Good. Actually, I think before we now start doing the game dev, we can quickly show you what we have been working on. I think, because there's actually a lot of stuff to show. So I will just start the game. and switch the context. Yeah, hedgehog sandwich will probably be an option in the drawing session again. But it's kind of funny because at the beginning everybody votes hedgehog sandwich, and when it's about the drawing, nobody votes hedgehog sandwich for some reason. It's like people don't want this to disappear ever. Right. Starting up the IDE. Yes, gotta open the StreamMod group.
Stefan asks in the streamer. Oh yeah, I guess you saw it already.
What Rookie Harbor link? I'm sorry. Oh, you mean the theme? A second. Yeah, actually, Intero just sent this to me directly and just did it like a couple of hours ago, so that's why nobody else in the team actually has that link. I just posted in our internal conversation. It's very secret. Don't hear. Okay. Oh, so it seems like you got a question just right now. Let me see. How many hours are you working in a week? Just a question for the lulz. Great. Oh man, yeah. How many hours do I work on a week? I personally think I don't work enough, though I try hard. I'm actually currently.
I guess you're the only one who thinks that.
Yeah, I talked to somebody who's actually doing professional game development. He said like 40 hours is normal time, and it's normal in game development that you work overtime. That means he works about 50 to 60 hours per week. And that's about the time I currently work as well. I'm actually tracking my time just to control myself to see how much work I actually do each day, kind of like make sure that I don't slack too much, because it's sometimes difficult to keep yourself motivated if you work on such a huge long-scale project. That's in general a problem. But actually, I think it works pretty well for me to just track my time. So yeah, I mean, my high score so far is 57 hours per week, which is, I guess it's okay. Goes up to about 50 hours a week. And I wish I could work more. I will try. It might be that next week I will probably get beyond that value if everything goes right, because we have crunch mode now. Next week is the last week before our milestone, so we have to get our work done. So yeah, a lot of time, a lot of work to be done, very little time. So we'll do a lot of work in very little time. That means a lot of work hours.
Actually, where did you see that question?
That was submitted in the Cross Central, just right now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I guess. Well, to be honest, I haven't really stopped my time so far, because
I guess I'm the only one so far. And of course, those people that I actually pay like per hour, they also of course record hours.
Yeah, okay, those of course.
It's actually something that I read in a book as well, some book about how to finish your game. Actually, something my brother bought me for as a birthday present, or I think Christmas present. They actually said you should write down your hours just to check how much work you actually invest per week.
Yeah, true.
And
I guess I will definitely try to do that in the future. It's a very good idea.
Yeah, it actually helps. Yeah. Of course, you have to be sincere about your hours, and don't count too many breaks and all that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a good. I mean, usually when I work, I've kind of gotten into like mostly listening to Game Grumps episodes. Meanwhile, especially those that I don't need to watch all the time, and those could be an indicator how long I'm working, because I mean, you know, those old episodes have always like 10 to 12 minutes or something, and then I can see how many episodes did I watch.
So you watch it in parallel while working, okay?
It works. It works really well when you are like mapping areas and stuff, because I don't know. It's.
It might actually work, yeah. If you're doing mapping, I guess it might work. though.
Or like spriting it might work as well. Just, I mean, writing dialogue is it wouldn't work as much because then you have to concentrate on the text you're writing. You can't listen to stuff meanwhile.
Yeah, programming
Usually.
is the same. Spriting kind of works. Yeah. Right, so let's see. I wanted to show recent progress. I think people are already posting my tweets, where you can actually see already some stuff. Now you can see it in game with sound and all that. Let me just start the game. So essentially we created new enemies and also worked on the graphics in general. So we got now the snow area more or less complete. There's still some details that we need to improve, but that's something we can do later as well. So let me just focus the game. Here we go. So I will just teleport to the snow area and show a bit what we got. Teleport, Bergen Trail, mockup snow. That's actually not the map you will see in the game. The mapping is not ideal. It's just meshed together somehow. But yeah, so we got the snow area. Still missing step sounds for the snow, as you can hear. And yeah, we got destructibles as usual. When you look closely, you see there's actually a snow effect when you destroy them. So. That's something we did. It was actually pretty simple. We already had some effect to use here. And you might also notice we got new enemies here, like 2 new type of enemies. So first we got the penguins, and then we got the snow bunnies. Not snow bunnies, but frobbits. That's a mixture of a frog and a rabbit. I actually originally thought it was like frost rabbit, but it's a frog and a rabbit, and that's why they don't have really arms. They're just legs and a rabbit. A rabbit without arms.
Now it's an avatar creature, basically.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. That's what
kind
it is.
of.
Yeah. So let me just defeat the frobbits here first. So they're kind of like the hedgehog enemy in that they're like quite numerous, always come in large groups, and kind of easy to defeat, you would think, but actually, yeah. In another way, they behave very differently. For instance, you see they jump around a lot. They are not dashing through you, but rather just move to you, jump at you, and then jump back again. So it's kind of like a different movement pattern, a different attack pattern. And what's also particular about the snow bunnies or the frobbits is when you just keep attacking them with close combat, they will just jump over you. So it's not that close combat is useless against them, but it's certainly they kind of like react in a way that they don't get stuck in any close combat chain. You actually cannot stuck them unless you use a special move that explicitly stuns enemies, like the Sphere Saw. And I'm dead.
Sphere Saw OP.
And okay, let me just defeat them. Seriously now. I'm of course, it's like they're on the same level as the hedgehogs and I'm level 1. That means they're about as strong as hedgehogs without leveling, without equipment, so that's actually not all that easy.
Well, you could just equip stuff out of combat. I mean, you have all the equipment in
but I'm too lazy.
debug mode.
And I can take it. I can do this. I can. Die bunnies, die. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here we go. Actually, when you see those bunnies jumping up very high, you should be very careful not to be hit after that jump, because they will actually hit you 3 times and that does a lot of damage. So that's like the strong special move, and they don't do it very often, but when they do, you have to be careful. Okay, so that are the frobbits. So as you can see, very hyperactive, very fast enemy. So there's also like 6 of them down here, but if you attack those, you have a fun time. So let's go to the penguins instead. Like they're like traditional snow penguins, more or less. I mean, they're just walking in the snow and they're forming some snowballs that they don't throw right now. So let's attack them. They're interesting in that sense that they have like a ranged and a close attack, actually kind of like the meerkats in that sense, because they had the same. So you see they actually throw snowballs, they can form them anywhere on the map right now. We might add it that they can only use this on snow, but not sure yet. We might just say, yeah, it doesn't matter and it's just the way it is. They can just make snow appear over a place where there is no snow. And then there's a second attack, the slide attack, as you can see. It's like what people would expect from penguins. They just slide on the snow and try to hit you. That's kind of like the dash attack of a hedgehog. That's the two attacks we have right now, and you might also see they're more like the relaxed enemies. They're kind of moving pretty slow. Unless you go far away, then they actually might run. You see? So here you can see how the penguins are perfectly capable of creating snowballs where there's no snow.
Well, maybe they are concentrating the snow that's in the air with psychic powers or something.
Yes, they're like waterbenders.
Yes.
They can do that.
I mean, they are. That would be the second avatar shout-out we use.
Yeah, we get a lot of them today.
Have them. Yep.
Let's see if I can defeat those without dying. I looked at the chat and that's why I died. So anyway, that's the new enemies, and yeah, that's one thing we do. So the other thing is like the snow effect, all the snow plants. That's all new. All happened during this week. And then we got another thing actually. We can go back to Rookie Harbor, except for of course the new theme that you just heard before. We got the Rookie Harbor Center. Actually, there's nothing here, but let's just start here and go down. So Rookie Harbor, we actually now started working on the interior more. I mean, we already had some graphics some time ago. Now we started integrating those graphics, and I added doors. Look at this. You can go inside the houses now, and now you can walk inside the house, and there's doors everywhere, and you cannot leave. Yeah, that's oops. And then there's a table where you can teleport. That's just a test. So yeah, that's the current state of Rookie Harbor. It took some time to implement that. Actually, no, it didn't. I don't know. Yeah, maybe assembling a tile set like this interior tile set always takes some time. I get graphics from Tina. They were actually pretty well this time. But still, whenever I get graphics, yeah, I mean, let's say like this. Always. The first times we had graphics, there's always some the problem when you draw graphics. It's one thing, but when you then try to convert them into a chipset, you always have to make sure that everything repeats properly. And sometimes you want to stuff repeat that originally the sprite artist didn't think about, and then you have to modify stuff a lot. And that's what I tend to do a lot. Maybe I'm just overdoing it a bit, but this time it wasn't actually too much work, but still I spent about a couple of hours to take the graphics, modify them to a sprite chat to make everything repeat nicely. And yeah, that's what I did this week as well. And so yeah, that actually went better this time. So before we had tile sets where I had to do a lot of work until I could head in the game. So it's just how it is. I mean, it's really hard to do graphics right without having them inside the game.
Yeah, of course.
You always miss some details. Okay, that's one thing. And finally, something I can show, which is not here, but not really. I mean, I can show you some new NPCs that we created essentially. Let me just teleport. That's nothing special, but hey, look, it's a new NPC type. It's yeah, it's like a triplater with red hair. It's a revolution, I know. It's also slightly larger than the other female red triplater. So exactly what happened, it's actually, we created some kind of template to create new NPC graphic. That's what I worked on most recently. It's let me just switch on back to my monitor. It's just a Photoshop file, really. It's so we had this idea before. Up to now, I never really used templates for creating NPCs. Neither did T3, but Stefan made the suggestion that we should do that. It might help to create more NPCs, so we just did that. And we still have to see how much it actually helps. Still kind of like mix with that. It's actually more work to create the sprites that way, because you have to deal with several layers. But if you keep doing this and you actually create a base of good graphics in one file, I think it might actually help to create new NPCs more quicker. So actually, you don't have these fixed graphics, but now you have them with individual parts. So actually, I separated. You have like the naked NPC. Oh my gosh, it's naked. It's not safe for work now. Sorry, guys. And then we got pants. No. Then we got like the torso, including arms. And then we got the head. What I can do now is simply replace the head. Now we got a different head. It's amazing. And now I can do the same with the torso. Or like that. That's wait. Why is this? Oh yeah, it's actually correct. So like and now we got like a different torso and pants, and now let's choose the last set of pants, and now look, we got a different NPC. It's like magic. And this is all like with an animation preview, because to me it's always important that you check the animation. But well, at least having the templates helps a lot to make sure that the animation is proper when they do these kind of devil sprites. And so yeah, up to now I just managed to create a couple of NPCs here, like 2 female and 2 male, and did this for the Triplater, started working on the Panther Fist. There's also going to be some regular NPCs which are actually not character classes, so no avatars, they're just regular people, like the old style NPCs as you would see them in the city. So that's what I'm going to work on next. So that's probably going to happen early next week, so we have some graphics for people we place in the city. Right now the city is still pretty empty.
It is, yes.
Right. So other than that, we have mapping going on. That's still work in progress. We will have to do a lot of maps next week. So a lot of stuff happening. We will have a lot of stress next week, and so that's how it is right now.
I
Good.
like pseudo radius's thing. NPC means naked person character.
In this case,
Sounds
I guess.
legit.
Yes, it sounds legit.
Okay, I think I can
Yeah.
start with some
I guess
questions
so,
or something.
Stefan, but you can create, but you still have to do a lot of spriting. I mean, you can assemble new NPCs. But I'm not sure that's always something you want to do that much, because they might not look very different. And I still have to think if that's actually a good idea to just take the components and combine them randomly for all kind of NPCs. Because of course you create a lot of graphics, but I think people might not really see the difference. Of course you can do editing. I mean, yeah. So actually that's something that I hope that people can actually now, based on this template, edit the graphics and do NPCs themselves. So that might actually help a lot. So, okay. So where are we? Questions, maybe.
Questions. Okay, there is a question from someone called Stefan. No, just kidding. Okay, one of the. Oh, yeah. Okay. Someone just said one of the watcher backers just sent a new question. That's from Atlessa. Okay, sorry.
It's something that I already answered. So ignore this one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Low
I'm just a bit.
258.
Actually, to confirm, are you doing biomes and then the enemies in the biomes? Yes.
Yeah.
I think.
That's pretty much it. I mean, the biomes. I'm not sure what are biomes. Do you mean like which areas we will have in the game?
Felix, please play more Minecraft. Yes, biomes is the areas. I think he means like Klimazonen.
Okay, yeah, pretty much. I mean, we planned what kind of areas we have, and after that we plan which kind of enemies make sense in those areas. And after we have like the rough enemies ideas, it's actually starting to rain here. I'm gonna close the window. But after we have the enemy idea, the theme for the enemy, we start thinking about gameplay ideas to keep them fresh. So excuse me a second.
I guess I should have sung a song or something.
I'm back already.
Yes, Felix, welcome back. We have done so many great things while you are gone.
That's amazing. That was very quick.
Yes.
So, by the way, one thing I'm curious about: are all the regular enemies going to be spawned friendly until you aggro them, or will it depend on area or enemy type, etc.? We do plan to make enemies aggressive, so we have type of enemies that will attack you on sight. That's at least a plan. We have to be careful about that, I think, so we have to make sure we don't overdo it, because unlike other games like Xenoblade, we actually have pretty narrow space, so it's actually very likely you just run into one of these enemies by mistake. I think what we will do is they will attack you on sight, but they have a pretty limited viewing range. So if you stand like 5 to 8 tiles away, they won't attack. Like you have to stay actually pretty close in the viewing direction for them to attack you. I think that will make it easier.
We could also make it so that like enemies are either not aggressive or, as you said, have a very limited range. But they get like alarmed if you step on a certain spot or like open a chest or something.
That's actually an interesting idea.
Because that way we could have areas that are not all that difficult to traverse, but it would still be dangerous to like try to steal treasure or something.
That's an interesting. I like this idea. So like make an enemy react when you open a chest nearby. That's actually pretty mean. It's easy. It's not difficult to implement, and it's kind of like a fresh idea. You see. So like you have a chest. It's not only about reaching it, but then you have to open it and survive.
Right. I mean, or like escape, but
escape. Actually, it's pretty easy in CrossCode to escape. So I guess that kind of would spoil the challenge a bit.
But then again, you could make it like a typical trap that like barriers come from the ground when you open the chest.
Yeah, but then I think that's something that will be more challenging to do in the exploration mode, not like in the open areas. At least to explain this logically again.
I mean, you could make those Xenoblade domes that prevent you from going out, that get introduced like in the very beginning.
Okay,
like
more
energy
questions.
Domes that, that's not a question, but
a statement.
It is weird that the penguins take damage from water.
I have to agree.
I mean...
Actually, I thought about that too, but we can actually do enemies that simply don't take any damage from water. That's actually no problem. I think we might just add this.
Then again, think of that NES Turtles game with the turtles being killed when they fall in the water. Like the one the one that's
if they did it, we can do it too. Yeah.
That's the angry video game nerd. Made a video about in this early time. And another not question. Man, we should ban those people who do not questions. Not a question, but CrossCode is still one of my favorite games. Just at all. I can't wait for more. Well, CrossCode 2 will be released later, of course, but yeah. Thank you. We will try our best to
okay, yeah, thank you. Of course. Always great to hear that, really. I mean, some people sometimes assume we might get sick of people praising our game or something, but that's actually never the case. I never get sick of praises. So
I mean, we are not all that popular that we get praised like every day or something. It's still And I mean,
well, if I go to Game Jolt every day, I might get praises every day because we get like every comment every day. It's usually a praise. So, but yeah.
but then again, I mean, it's different if you just read some comment on Game Jolt or if you read it directly in a chat room, like real time. I just realized. Getting attacked after opening a chest.
What again?
Okay, forget it. It was a dumb wordplay joke. CrossCode 2. I thought the next step will be Crossworlds.
Who talked about CrossCode 2?
But then again, we didn't reach the Crossworlds stretch goal.
Yeah.
So
we have to make a record like. In funding to actually make this happen. So first we have to create a space program to get a new planet where we can build a theme park. Have to develop technology for instant information, like transfer that works instantly. I guess like we'll probably need a couple of years to do that, or a couple of lifetimes. So yeah.
I mean, Adlessa says, I would back Crossworlds. Doesn't have to be 3D, just 4-player co-op. I mean, Crossworlds with co-op would be amazing, I guess, but
like that's a twist. That's a twist by itself. We make an MMO we make Crosswords again as a scenario, but then we don't create a single player game around it, but an actual MMO. So we create an MMO where the scenario is an MMO. Isn't that like perfect? It's like people won't be confused at all.
I'm confused myself now.
That's exactly like
MMOception.
CrossCode. Exactly like CrossCode, only it's not a single player RPG, but an
Yeah,
actual MMO. So it's not really in crosswords, but you play an MMO where the scenario is an MMO. It's like
okay. Let me just think. I mean, I kinda think of Sword Art Online now for some reason, but it's different. Let's say you play an character in Sword Art Online in an MMO,
it's like when
which has
somebody
a
in Sword Art Online sat on a PC and starts to boot crosswords and then plays CrossCode inside.
but it's a good thing. I mean, that would kind of be if you would make an MMO based on Sword Art Online, but it had a permadeath option, but not for you, of course, the player, but for the player that you are playing inside the game.
It's
Get
good
it?
that it doesn't have a permadeath option for the player itself. I think that's good.
I mean, for that we would need to research that as well, like research microwave helmets. Oh
I
man,
wonder how quick you will become out of business if you do that. Anyway, so I think we should think about starting to do some work.
you think?
I think so. That's why we're here, right?
No, I thought we were here to talk about Sword Art Online.
Maybe. But yeah, we should stop procrastinating.
That's such a difficult word. I mean,
I
who
know.
has even thought it up?
It helps you to procrastinate the sentence you're about to say.
I mean, whenever I read the word procrastinate, I always think of some like liver disease or something.
Why?
I don't know, like some deadly organ failure. I always think of that when I read procrastinating.
Okay.
I'm not sure why. It's
Can't say I think
weird.
the same. Okay, so we will create a new anime right now. That's the plan. We will start by opening
Creating
the
an anime.
graphics by hiring a sprite artist and make him do all the graphics work. That's something we already prepared. So T3 now created this nice Seahorse sprite sheet. Look at this. It's beautiful. It's a blue seahorse that is flying. It's almost like a combination of two animals, like something we did before. So that thing is actually an anime we also plan to spawn in Autumn area, at least in the later parts in Autumn area, which are close to Autumn Rise, close to the Bergen Tree area. And then it will also appear in the Bergen Tree area, maybe with an upgrade later on. So it's kind of like an enemy that's shared between those two regions.
Mhm.
And the interesting thing about that enemy, which will be different, it's actually flying. Flying
Mhm.
means it will not touch the ground. That also means it won't jump. But it will still move very like normal enemies. It's not like it will just fly randomly around. That's actually something that's pretty hard to do with our engine. I thought about this a lot and I said, nope, we will not do this for now, but it will at least look like it's flying. And I hope I can demonstrate this to you because we already implemented some kind of system to make it work. It's kind of like they're floating over the ground and it looks kind of different when they're trying to jump over stuff, but they're essentially doing the same. They're just jumping from platform to platform. But that comes later. So the first thing I'm going to do is I will open this graphics in Photoshop and complain that the transparency is not working because it's done with graphics scale, which sucks. But yeah, anyway, it's easily fixed. So now we got like the graphics fixed there. Oh, like a lot of nice pixels here. So okay, I'm not sure why I do this. I just like to first paste stuff in Photoshop. Now I'm gonna do save as and save it in the right folder of our game.
And I will meanwhile work on the details on a certain map so that
You can also
that
do some
map
puns in
is
the background and the stuff you always do.
puns. Yeah, yes, but I can multitask. No, maybe. I hope. I mean, I've said that Game Grumps is a good thing that you can do while mapping. So I guess streaming
Now
while
stream should
mapping
work
should.
too, right?
or like reading stuff meanwhile.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
let's do
actually, let
details.
me just check the animations first. Actually, that's something I really can do here, because I'm actually not perfectly sure how the animations were planned. Um, I just now you can
Oh
see
yeah,
how I do
yeah.
animations in Photoshop. Um,
Felix,
yeah.
like Urinstein mentioned that we've basically stolen an idea from Pokemon because this one this one Pokemon, this third evolution step from Simon or something, looks kind of similar to it because it's also a seahorse with
Whatever.
wings.
It's just
I mean, it's a
coincidence.
seahorse with wings. I mean, what's or
Why
else it is
Pokemon?
supposed to be.
Why do we have so many Pokemon? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, you have so many Pokemon. It's no wonder that you basically have uh, that you basically steal from Pokemon by doing whatever enemy that you could. I mean, does Pokemon have a hedgehog enemy? I
Probably.
think so. This one fire Pokemon is a hedgehog, or
Mm.
was supposed to be a hedgehog. Like,
Okay.
hmm,
Currently trying to figure
whatever.
out which animation poses are the best here. Kind of like a bit confused because the first pose, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be in the movement, but it actually looks pretty nice if I edit, so I think I will just keep it. Here, this is like if you focus on the left pose here, that's like about the animation we will have for the enemy. Or maybe decide to keep it simple for now. We just have one simple flying move. We just use that one if the enemy moves around as well. We might add another animation for moving forward, but for now we just keep
Mm.
it that way. And
Felix, it's pretty funny that it's if you cycle through the animations, it kind of looks like this one part of the sheet is headbanging.
okay, that's interesting.
Kind of the one in the middle, I think.
The one in the
Anyway,
middle, yeah, actually the head banging here, like where the head is back and the head is force. That's actually the
it's
shooting
like
animation.
the shooting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
It's like
And it's a clever trick that Tefri came up with, and I totally love this idea. This one is also damage pose. We just will use the same pose for damage and shooting. It's like recycling. I love
I
this
mean,
really.
it works.
Really.
It's like before you sneeze,
Mm-hmm.
you close your eyes and tilt your head back most of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time when
yeah.
you are sneezing really loud, and it's kind of the same as if you got punched. Well,
Exactly.
maybe. I mean, I didn't get
I
punched
can
that often.
yeah. Yeah. Usually you don't move like
And
this when you get punched, but it's like accelerated movement. Um.
I guess I should, yeah, maybe. By the way, speaking of getting punched, I saw a pretty funny video today,
Okay.
and it was basically about this about a super high-ranking martial arts Aikido master
Mm-hmm.
who has made videos about him beating all his students by just with his mind, basically by making like nice-looking movements, whooshy whooshy.
Okay.
And then he got into a fight with a real martial artist from another dojo,
Mm-hmm.
and then he got just beaten in the face. It was, I mean, I guess you need context for that, but it was pretty
Okay, yeah, that
funny.
sounds interesting. You gotta show me that later.
Yeah, it was basically about him basically practicing fake martial arts because it's not really martial arts that's usable for self-defense, and then fighting against someone who does real martial arts, and then he gets punched.
No,
It was an
actually, we just
interesting
got a couple
article.
interesting suggestions and questions here. I
Oh,
just want to read them. Actually, that's your
okay.
job, Hashana, but anyway.
In the Steam,
So,
I mean, I can do. I haven't. I have done mapping work. Don't.
yeah, that's actually good too. One thing I just thought of is could you have wandering critters with health that aren't hostile and drop great items when you kill them? Sort of cross between the destroyable plants and stuff and regular enemies. Um, that's something we could do. It's not difficult. I mean, it's easy to implement enemies that just won't attack you. I kind of find this idea interesting. I think we might think about that. But it's like, yeah, I think it's actually more interesting if they do actually something when you attack them. But just it's at least something we can keep in mind. Another question. Maybe there could be some rare critters that run away all the time, and when you finally catch them, they drop something rare, but would be super annoying to catch. That's an also a cool idea. It's like, I like this a lot. Something we can already do. At least we have some kind of escape mechanism, like the meerkats. They're already having escape. They just run away. So I like this idea. The thing what's kind of currently a bit difficult is to actually get to make them disappear forever. But maybe you don't even need that. Just make them run somewhere far away all the time might be enough. Though I think there's more of a challenge to it if they have some spot they can run to and then disappear forever until they respawn later on. That's actually pretty interesting. I like this idea. It's kind of like a different take of an enemy. I always like these kind of things. So not just have enemies that you just go and beat up and that's it. So like it's the approach we had so far, but having enemies that behave in unique ways that you don't expect. It's something very good to keep the game fresh for a longer time. It's like an idea we had, I think we mentioned before, is that you have one enemy that you essentially cannot damage until you take another enemy nearby, and then this small enemy gets eaten by that big enemy that you cannot hit, and then this enemy essentially wakes up, the big enemy, and then you can attack it, and then you can defeat it, and then you get a good item or something like this. So that stuff I really like, this kind of like interaction between enemies and unique enemy behaviors. And that's something you're going to see today, how we actually implement that enemy, because we have a pretty complex system behind enemies, complex and powerful, so we can actually do a lot of stuff with enemies, and that's why we can do all these kind of ideas that we have. I just realized that this Seahorse has a lot of metal stuff on the back, and that's awesome. I think that's why it looks sci-fi, right? So that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice work, T3. Okay, right. Back to work, I would say. The first thing I'm going to do now, I save the graphics. Now the second thing I'm going to do is assemble the animations. For that we created our rather new animation editor. It's far from perfect really, because it's essentially just some kind of animator that guides you in creating the JSON assets that define the animations based on a graphics sheet. It doesn't have any preview actually, so you have to do the stuff. You have to know how the properties behave, but it still helps a lot because you don't have to remember all the right keywords. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one of the existing animations. Let's take the frog, because that's a very simple one. Now I'm going to save as. I call this one the Seahorse, though it's not just a regular Seahorse, but whatever. So up here you can decide if it's a multi-direction animation or a simple direction animation. Since our enemy has several viewing directions, it's a multi-direction animation. So actually I can talk a lot about the animation system in CrossCode, because it's one of the things I think we managed to create rather well. It's actually very flexible when it comes to viewing directions. On the very top, the first thing you define for an animation sheet is the actual frames. Frames means you specify a link to a graphic, like here we have the move sheet. You just give it some labels that we can use it later again. Each sheet you define a graphics file. In this case, the Frobit. I'm going to change this to the Seahorse now. Here we go. And then you just define the range of the graphics here. So the tile has this size, and just go do this again. You can see how it repeats, and now you have each of the tiles defined. That's the basic of the animation. So, and you can already see like we have 6 frames, and then we go to the next row, and the next row, and again. So that's the basis, what our animation is based on. And now we're actually going to define how the individual animations are defined based on these graphics. And here we actually use some kind of hierarchical system. That means we have a node. We usually only have a root node, and each node either defines a list of properties that get derived to all the subnodes, or it just defines an animation itself. So here in this particular example, we have one root node that defines a certain amount of properties. Then we have one subnode that defines an additional amount of properties. And then we got a couple of animations based on these properties. I'm just going to delete those here now. and create new animations to make this more clear. I think I'll just delete this one too. Let's just quickly remember the properties here. So we start from over. The first thing I'm going to do is define the shape of the animation. We actually got a lot of different shapes, and those are actually kind of complex to explain. It kind of behaves, defines how the sprite is exactly displayed inside the game in terms of can you jump on top of it or can you not. If you cannot jump on top of it, which is the case for enemies, at least most enemies, then you can just choose the Y flat option. Y flat means that the Y dimension of the displayed sprite is flat. So what is Y? Kind of like we have 3 dimensions in CrossCode. If you didn't notice, it actually is, it has 3-dimensional collision. You have Y and X, which are the 2 axes on the ground, and then you got the Z axis, which is pointing upwards. So that's like the up movement. Our sprites are actually also 3-dimensional in theory. So each sprites in our game, in our rendering engine, has 3 dimensions. So you have an X, Y, and Z dimension. And here we actually define how the sprite is exactly shaped in relation to the entity. The entity, of course, is also 3-dimensional. It also has like 3 size properties, X, Y, and Z. And when we choose now Y flat, that means now the sprite in relation to our entity is actually flat in Y dimension. The X is exactly the same. The Z is also about the same height as the entity. It's actually the same height as the graphics, that's tile size. And but the Y dimension is just flat. And that's actually a good option for enemies because this works well. If you cannot jump on the enemy, it reduces them. And it just is also rendered quickly, so that's why it's a good option. So it's probably hard to understand all of this, so I probably shouldn't go too much into detail about this. Probably I have to draw some stuff to make this really understandable. Anyway, try to explain this a bit. I'm also going to select the name sheet here, move. That's again the one we defined before. I can also now go ahead and define another sheet if I want to, but I will just keep the move sheet here. So that's like the basic options for all the animations that will follow. They're all Y flat in shape type and they all use the same sprite sheet. So next I'm going to define a node that defines how many view directions we have. Now our enemy has 6 view directions. Let me just show the graphics again. You have, this is not exactly upwards and this is not exactly downwards. It's kind of like tilted a bit. But you have a perfect side view direction. We just take those 3 directions and we just flip them, and then we get 6 directions. That's the whole idea here. 6 directions, and next I'm going to define, I think it's tile offsets. Now tile offsets defines the offset into our tile set for each individual animation. Let's have a look at the tile sheet again for a second. You can see now we get here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you can see like we got 6 frames per row, and the first has 0. Now in the second row we start with the index 6, and the third row we start with the index 12, and so on. So, and now we have to define where do actually the offsets start for each direction. If you look closely, this one is looking up, this one is looking sideways, and this one is looking down. So the first view direction, we always start with the up, has offset 0. The second view direction has 6 offset. The third view direction has the offset of 12. And now we come to the fourth view direction, which is exactly flipped. And again, it's the same tile. It's again 12. If you now go to the next one, going clockwise, it's looking to the left. So we take again tile number 6 and flip it. And for our last view direction, it's looking upward, but to the left again. So we again take tile number 0 and flip it. So that's kind of like how we define our view directions. I'm going to do this now. Here we don't have any good editor, unfortunately, so I still have to use our generic JSON. So again, the first tile offset is 0. The next one is 6. The next one is 12. And the next one again 12. And then we got 6 and finally 0. That's the tile offsets for our animation. Next one. Next I'm gonna define the flip definition. So as I said, we flip graphics, and so I have to define whether the sprite is flipped for each direction again. So again, it's an array. The first 3 directions, they are not flipped. and the last 3 directions, they are flipped. So that's how it looks like. It's pretty basic. So actually that's something that we do repeatedly. So there's a lot of detailed stuff you can configure here. It's actually not all that simple, but it is powerful. We can actually do a lot of different stuff with our animations. For instance, something I can do is, actually something we do very often is, I just go ahead and I'll say, okay, the same sheet now has certain frames, certain animations that just have 2 viewing directions, or maybe 8, or maybe 16. I actually can have one animation sheet that has all kind of viewing directions mixed together. And that's actually a very powerful thing to do. It helps you to just save frames at the right moment in time, so you don't waste too many poses. And it's just the right way to define all of this properly. I actually really like the system, so yeah. Okay. That's any questions so far, maybe?
Yeah, wait. First off, we have blah, blah. Maybe there could be some. Did you read it already? Maybe there could be some rare critters that run away all the time, and when you finally catch them, they drop something rare. Yeah, I think it's kind of like the.
I think I talked about this.
Okay.
You didn't listen, I think, but yeah, I get it anyway.
I wasn't really sure. There was a thing. There was a thing that someone said that you should check your Twitch PMs because he told you so. He sent you a message or something.
Right now, or for some time ago?
I guess he sent it right now or something. I don't know. I guess I know what it's about because it's a guy from a clan that I am in, or from a guild rather,
okay.
for this Attack on Titan tribute game, you know, that I told you about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I've ever asked you about that, but they once asked me about some kind of sponsorship or something. That because they want to organize a tournament for the game, and basically that we sponsor like 1 or 2 or 3, I don't know how many, like Steam keys for winners or something, and in exchange they would make advertisement or something. I guess I forgot about it because we have crunch time and got a bit busy about everything.
Yeah, we can think about this later on.
Yeah, I guess it's better if you discuss this after the stream, because right now it's a bit.
And after the milestone, I mean.
And after the milestone, I think. I'm not even sure when the tournament is, because I personally had not much time to follow the the Skype conversation.
All right. So, any more questions so far? Okay, so let's just continue with
nope.
animations. Okay, so now that I defined the base for all of our animations, I'm now going to add the individual animations, and then again make another note. The first thing I'm going to define is a name. So whenever I define a name, it should in theory be clear that now this animation doesn't have any subpoint. It's actually now an actual animation. It doesn't have any subnodes. I'm going to name this one the idle animation. We have this all the time. Each animation defines a time value. That is like the display time for each frame. We don't have times for individual frames. That's something we don't really do, though it might be useful. In the worst case, we can define very low time values and just repeat frames. That's at least some way to differ the frame.
Oh yeah, Felix,
yeah.
Can you zoom in?
It's too small. I can increase my phone size, if that helps. Here, so now it's a bit zoomed in. I hope that helps. Yeah, I made it a bit larger. I think that's a bit easier to see now. I hope it helps. Yeah, that's a problem. I already decreased my resolution to like not be full HD, but yeah. Okay, so I hope that helps. So I'm gonna define a time value here for per frame. Okay. People enjoying the rain. I'm gonna choose a time of tenths of a second. And finally, yes, I have to define repeat, that this animation actually does repeat. We can define this for each animation. And finally, I'm going to define the frames. And frames is just an array, and for each frame we just define an index. Now we can just, this is now combined with the offsets we have set for each viewing direction, so we just consider like the first direction. Let's go back to the sheet to just have a look how that looked like. 0, 1, 2, 3. These are the first 4 frames, and we just repeat those to show the alt animation. So I'm just going to write this down here. 0, 1, 2, and 3. And here we go. Next, I'm just going to copy that whole thing. I mean, a lot of the speed in development comes from the capability of just copying stuff. I mean, that's something you always should implement in editors. It's a very important feature. So next, I'm gonna implement the damage pose, which is actually very simple. Just go back here. It's just one frame. Actually, it's not. Actually, there's a little twist to the damage pose, and I'm gonna show here now. So first of all, we got one graphics for the damage pose. It's this one. It's the one we're gonna also reuse for the shooting, for the pre-shoot thing anyway. And what I'm not going to do is I select those frame. It's frame number 4, but I'm going to use it 2 times. And I'll make it a bit quicker because I think it has to be less than a second, but I'm not sure actually. Let me just quickly check this. I'm actually not sure what's the speed. Yeah, it was like 20th of a second. Not Frobit, still not Frobit. I want to go to the Seahorse. Here we go. Yeah, something our editor school, you can just quickly change files, also something that's very important. What I'm going to do is I'm going to define a frame graphics offset, and with that option I can define an offset in pixels for X and Y dimensions for each frame. The first frame I'm going to say there's no offset in neither X or Y, so I'm just going to add 2 zeros. 2 zeros means an X 0 and Y you have 0 offset, so there's no offset. For the second frame, I'm going to say there is 1 offset in the X dimension and another offset in the Y, 0 offset in the Y dimension. So essentially I say for the second pose in our animation, we're just going to move the sprite 1 pixel to the left or to the right, I think it doesn't matter. And what you get in the end is just a repetition of a sprite moving left and right, and that's something we do in CrossCode. So whenever you hit an enemy, we just don't simply show a static sprite, but we show a sprite going left and forward, so it's shaking essentially very quickly. That's actually, it just looks nicer that way, so that's why we do it. We make this repeating, and let me check some. I guess that's it. That's our damage pose. That's it already. So next I'm gonna define another animation, which is actually not repeating strictly speaking, but it's not that important because it only has 1 pose. I'm not sure how long it will be, but it's a pre-shoot animation. That's the one we're gonna display before the enemy shoots. The frame here is again exactly the same for the damage, so it's just 4. And finally we have the actual shoot pose, which is the final pose number 5. And with that, we now defined all animations for our enemy for now. We might probably add some more later, but that step is essentially done with that. And as you can see, there's no preview on anything, so our editor can still be improved in that way, but so far it actually helps already a lot to just define animations, because you can select all the properties instead of typing them by hand. So yeah, animation done. Any questions at this point? Or any suggestions?
Nope, not. I mean, no questions from what I can see. It's just rain appreciation at the moment.
Yay! Yeah.
Rain.
Rain. We actually had rain here in Saarbrücken. I think it was shortly before I got here by bike. When I was riding here, it was again sunshine, but the street was wet for some reason. That was kind of strange. Okay. Okay,
Okay, I'm just gonna. Damn it! What was the?
Yeah, I actually saw there's another watcher question. I'm not sure we're just gonna answer them immediately. This watcher questions are usually something we want to prepare, but I can check later again. I know whatever. I'm just gonna have a look if it was something we can answer.
Yeah, I mean, if we got no other questions, and
Yeah, makes sense.
there's no reason why not.
Okay. Another watcher per question. In-game updates. Will there be in-game updates in the story of Crossword? Like, in-game is an update announced that makes small spots on the map, aka blocked path, change some NPC or something. You mean like integrated in the story of the game? That's
That's
actually
actually that's a clever idea. I
that's
mean,
a
if you
very
think about
interesting
it.
idea. Actually, it's something we probably should do. We should think how we can integrate this in our plot. I have to admit we didn't plan anything so far yet, but I'm sure we can integrate something like this in the plot. Maybe in a side quest at least. So thanks for the suggestions. Actually, it's a good idea to make this game more feel like a proper MMO, to have these kind of in-game updates for small quests.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's a really cool idea.
Hmm. Okay, thanks for the suggestion. I guess that's it. Right, so next we are now gonna jump to the actual animation enemy, and this one has a lot more properties that you can configure. Is it going right so far? Yep. Okay. Yo, enemies. Now, enemies are maybe like the most complicated asset in CrossCode, I think. If I think about it, I think they're pretty much the most complicated asset. Except for maps, obviously. I mean, maps are huge. But apart from maps, enemies are the most complicated thing you can define so far. And I'm gonna give you a small overview of what kind of properties you can define inside an enemy asset. And we're just gonna implement an enemy today. So let me just load an enemy first. Let's take the Frobit because it's actually rather simple so far. An enemy just we have these kind of 5 tabs in our editor, and they define everything that defines an enemy. The first thing is the name. Obviously, you can define the level, credits, experience, like the basic stats. That's obviously something you need to define for each enemy. You can also specify the elemental weakness. That's actually something that's missing for the Frobit. Probably something we're gonna add soon. Then you have like the target detect definition. This kind of defines how the enemy reacts to the player and when it will detect the player as a target. So here we just say the detect distance is like 120 and lose distance and notify neighbor radius. I'm just gonna think about this for a second. I think this kind of defines on what radius you actually lose the player as a target. And the notify neighbor radius is actually defines in what extent it notifies neighbor enemies that now there's somebody attacked me, please help me. That's actually how it works. So whenever you attack a new enemy that just now turns into an enemy, turns to attack you, it will just notify all enemies around it to attack as well, and there's a certain radius that it can define right here. Here we can define whether it's a boss enemy or not, and then we can define also HP breaks, which is also some kind of weird JSON editor that we not more closer defined here. Then the size defines how big the entity is on the map, like the dimensions. Usually we tend to use 16 by 16. If you use these kind of dimensions, there's no trouble with the pathfinding, so you should prefer that. There's actually also a way to define an offset, and I think I might have forgotten to add the option here in the editor. Whoops. Got to add this soon. Interesting. I hope I didn't break any enemies that way. Anyway, so that's something I'm probably gonna add sometime soon. Anyway, so here we actually define the animations. And now before I continue explaining the Frobit enemy, let's just do the following. I use save as. I'm gonna call this a Seahorse. And now we just turn this Frobit into a Seahorse enemy. That's actually one of the productive ways you can work. Just take an asset and modify it. It's much faster than just creating a new asset from scratch.
I mean, that's yeah.
It's common sense, I guess. So
it's common sense, just like having a basic engine and then modifying it instead of making a new one.
Kind of like this, exactly. Sometimes when you create a new engine, you want to start from scratch, actually.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it always depends.
It really
I mean,
depends
it's the
on what
same
exactly.
it's the same with assets. I mean, it doesn't make sense to use an old asset for a new asset if it doesn't help you with anything.
Yeah, like we cannot just take a Rookie Harbor Central map and turn it into like a Bergen Trail map. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Or make a Frobit to make, or take a Frobit to make a Seizui's Gastro character.
This one might actually work, but anyway. The base is pretty simple. If you have a simple base, you can make a lot of it. But if the base is complex, then you have more
Oh yeah, of course.
cleaning up.
If you take
The
this,
Frobit is very
yeah,
simple, so
I was
anyway.
talking about like graphics or something.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
obviously. So no, I'm of course gonna select the new Seahorse animation that we just created. Save this already. And I think I'm gonna do something very funny now. I'm just gonna say this is an idle. I'm just gonna define all the movement animations now. I'm not gonna say any move here. It's just it doesn't have any movement animation actually. Damage is damage. There's no jump, there's no fall. Just take whatever. Actually, that's it. There's just an idle and damage animation. More, we don't need anything more right now. So what do we got here? Here you have another properties like we define which walk animation is used by default. We have the norm animations all defined. So in our entities, we can define several sets of animations, and we can swap them with the walk animates property. That's something important. A very simple example is Lea. Like when you aim with Lea, she moves differently. Like she has a different set of movement animations than when she's just walking around without aiming. And these are actually two sets of walk animations that we swap from back and forth. That's actually the origin of the system. And we do the same for enemies. Like sometimes enemies are in the stun mode, so they have a complete different set of animations, and that's how we just swap the walk animations definitions in that case. The weight just defines how much the enemy's weight. It kind of defines how much you can push the enemy. If I just increase this to 500, the enemy will be very hard to push. Actually, I think this one is a pretty light enemy, so I'll just make it smaller to 50. The maximum velocity defines how fast the enemy is. This one is actually a value that you usually want to keep at this precise value, because it makes sure that your enemy can jump as it expected from most enemies. So we'll just keep it like this. Jumping enabled is something I'm going to set to true, though it's not jumping. The shadow is actually the size of the shadow you see below the enemy. Hit stable is a very interesting property. Hit stable defines to what degree your enemy can withstand certain attacks. Hit stable light bedeutet all attacks that have the hit property light are simply ignored. They won't stun the enemy. But everything beyond light, which is medium or heavy, or actually have the hit type massive. So whenever anything that goes beyond a light hit will just stun the enemy. So that's something we can define here. And we can just change this property during animations, during any action arbitrarily. So that's actually something we do a lot. So we modify the hit stable value to exactly define when you can stun the enemy or when you cannot stun it. So that's it's a very important property. It's very important for balancing this one. Face to target simply means just look at the target all the time. That's usually what you want. Finally, I'm going to add something new here. The first one is the float height. The float height actually defines how much the enemy is floating over the ground. Remember, our entity here is actually it has wings, so it must be flying. Let's just say it flies about like 6 pixels over the ground.
So do ostriches.
Anyway, let's ignore ostriches. They're stupid. Also, they have hands. They're exactly the same. Hands. They also don't fly.
Hey, don't be mean.
What are you doing there? Stop it! No noises.
I can do something even better in a few seconds. You will hate that. I promise you.
You're gonna eat something.
Exactly. I was just.
You're gonna eat some chips, right?
Packaging. Almost. It's like. How do you call it? Like cookies. Not cookies, but you know, like butter cakes, but Vollkorn. Because I'm healthy.
That's cookies still. I mean, they're full grain cookies, but they're still cookies. So there's still sugar in them. They're still unhealthy. Sorry to
It's like with
disappoint you.
toast.
Huh?
It's like with toast. If it's full grain, it's instantly healthy.
Yeah, it must be perfectly healthy.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I
guys, I'm
mean,
gonna do. Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna do something very weird, experimental now. I'm gonna save the seahorse enemy and see if it works. It might actually work in a strange way, though it will probably look very strange, or it might just crash. Um, so let's just go to one of the areas. Actually, I just paste it into our enemy test map, I think.
Ballfub oder Fube oder Fube.
Good night, Fube. Or Fube 0815.
Mhm. And we also have a question, which is very important.
Okay.
From Pseudo Radius. I have a question. Can I see your throbbing manhood?
No.
It's apparently a reference to something, but
Okay.
I'm not sure to what. I mean, it sounds like a typical hentai reference, but I mean, even I
don't know what it is, but it doesn't sound safe for work.
Even I don't know every hentai that exists, so I don't.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
might
know
be
that reference.
you might be very pretty close to it anyway.
No, I don't think so.
So
I mean, I'm kind of like this old philosopher. I know that I know nothing. No, wait, that was Jon Snow.
old philosopher. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm now gonna add a new enemy. Let's hope things don't crash, guys. The enemy info, let's say it's here, and there should be a seahorse. Here it is. I select the seahorse, I say done, and oh my gosh, it's a rabbit. Why? It should not be a rabbit, it should be a seahorse.
God damn it, Felix.
Okay, so let me first check. Something went wrong here. Why? How? I was perfectly sure I set this to be the seahorse. Maybe something is messed up with our editor here. I hope not. I hate this. Let's save this. Why? Why did it not save the sheet of all things? No, I might actually watch the stream. What the fuck? Oh, I hate this. You know that's the thing
Felix,
that.
please. Save for work.
Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
No, not really. I mean, I do that all
Yeah.
the time.
I know, but guys, that's seriously what sucks about creating your own editors. You have to get it right because sometimes you don't, and then this happens. You do something and it does just not saved. Save it. Save it.
Yeah, right.
Save it already.
That's exactly who I meant. Socrates.
Ah! God damn it! I'm pretty sure this worked.
But I guess Jon Snow is also.
This actually worked a couple of some time ago, but now it doesn't. I'm really pissed now. God damn it. Whatever. So let's just never mind. I'm just gonna do it by hand, so I can actually see what we worked with originally. Let's just go to data, animations, enemies, seahorse, and seahorse.
Pseudo Radius just explained it's a reference to a visual novel. There is a 18+ version available, but the line is from the version for all ages. Is it some of those that you can find on Steam? Like this Sakura something and Neko Para or whatever it's called? I mean, I personally don't play those, but I've seen them on this in the Steam store at times.
God damn it! Why did it not save? Freaking editors! I hate this.
Grimmel.
Yeah. Actually, why is it X count X? That doesn't make sense. This one might have broken it. Maybe that's the reason why it didn't work. Let me just check this for a second. So I know that cannot be. It cannot be that. This is the reason. Don't eat during the stream. No chips or cookies. Even full cream.
Oh, you hear
cookies.
me?
Yes, I hear you.
Damn it. I mean,
Yeah, it's not saved anyway. It doesn't work.
the nice thing about full grain is that they are much louder when you eat them.
That's indeed very nice, I know.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So, okay, now I swapped the... Let's just load this one now, and now it should display the proper sheet, hopefully. God damn it. Why? Okay, now it
Okay,
works. Awesome.
we have the important conclusion to the question. It's from Princess Evangile. So I guess we should all play
Whoa.
that game now, so we get the reference.
Look, it's our enemy. It's in there, guys. We got it. Man, it's pretty big. Didn't expect it to be that big, actually. Why can't I zoom? Let me zoom enemy. Here we go. So, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna save this now. Test this map. Yes, I'm Felix. Nice to meet you. Look, it's a flying seahorse, and it's actually flying over the ground. Yay! Shoot it!
And
Attack me!
by the way,
Now the funny thing
the
is,
way,
this
Yep,
seahorse is
okay.
gonna attack exactly like the bunnies. At least it should be, but it isn't.
It's basically a kung fu seahorse now.
I know why. Actually, what we're doing here, we are using the jump command. But the jump command doesn't work as expected when the enemy is flying. That's a bug.
Yeah,
But that's actually not important because this enemy is not going to jump anyway, so at least not in the way.
yeah. It's just a placeholder, basically.
So yeah. So anyway, so we got
Yeah.
now some base for enemy. Next I'm going to implement actions and states, but if you want to talk about something first, do this now.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I'm Henning, so
Yeah.
so that we are clear on all fronts now.
Genau, okay. And the guy on the stream is Geflüge, aka Henna, or Henning. And I'm Felix, aka Laxen.
He's the one on camera and the one who's really streaming.
Yep.
I'm just the one in Skype talking.
Yep.
Seahorse is using Bite, obviously. Like Bite is this move on Pokemon that lets you wait 2 turns before you decount. Like it's called Geduld
I see.
in German.
Great. Okay, so now there's a couple of things here we can define. States, actions, bolts, and reactions. Yeah, of course, there's a bolts tabs in CrossCode. That's to be expected. Reactions.
We
We know that they are called bolts. So there's reactions here. Reactions are kind of like special things that happens. For instance, if the player is so close, or if you hit the enemy at the right point in time, you might do some special stuff. You might turns enemy to go into the weak state and things like this. That's what reactions are used for. We are not going to do this today. I think we will just focus on the basic stuff. We're going to implement some actions that the enemy can do to move around, to attack their player. We're going to define a few bolts because this enemy is actually going to shoot some bolts to some extent. We actually discussed we probably will just implement some cheese then, right? Yeah, let's just make the thing shoot some cheese. Or if you have any other ideas what the seahorse could be shooting, just drop the ideas here. We can just make the seahorse shoot whatever you suggest, guys. It's your chance. We might not promise to keep it, but we just do it in stream.
But only safe for work options, okay?
Yes, please. I mean, we might just drop it for the final game anyway, so we cannot promise.
I mean, it could shoot like yogurt.
Yeah, yogurt. So
it's healthy. I mean, what? But then again, I'm not really a big fan. I'm not really a big fan of yogurt, to be honest.
But yogurt is good. So
no, it's like I don't like it.
Okay, now each enemy has a set of actions. You can define as many as you need. The ID action is usually the one that's used in when the enemy is not doing anything in particular. It's just face to the target and wait some time. That's it. So it's important to add idling actions because otherwise the enemy will just move around very actively. So you don't want this. It's very annoying.
Felix.
Yes.
Felix. We actually have a very cheap idea for shooting.
Okay.
It could just shoot the giant enemy crab's homing bubbles.
Oh, that's actually a cool idea. I like ideas that I can just recycle. That's awesome because I can just go right to the cargo crab, copy that value, and paste it back to the seahorse. That's thanks. That's cool. We'll do that. But If you have any other funny ideas, we can do that too. So, move to spawn point is something that happens when the enemy is currently not targeting anything usually. I mean, actually you can define when these actions are used. Here it's just about defining the actions themselves, and later you actually define the states. Now if I think about it, maybe it makes sense to first talk about the states of the enemy and then about the actions, because the states more or less define the behavior on a rough scale, while the actions define the behavior on a detailed scale, like what exactly happens if the enemy does this or that action. Let's go to states. Enemies have a couple of states they can switch in between during combat. The minimal amount we usually have is an idle state. That's a state that's active if the enemy is not in combat, it's not engaged into combat, so it's just moving around randomly. And falling down cliffs and then trying to get back onto this cliff. It's actually something we're going to try to fix soon. That's just that this move random is something we need to improve to make this, to avoid this. But anyway, so that's the first state. The second state is the default state, and that is the one where, when in combat, just go to the default state and try to kill the player. There's a lot of stuff happening here. Let's just go to the idle state first because it's smaller. Each state, first off, you can define arbitrary changes to the enemy state. That's important. I can now say, okay, for whatever reason in the idle state, we have a damage factor of 0.1, which means like when the enemy is idle and you hit it, just takes 10% of the damage, which is actually boring. I think actually a cool idea, which we can do maybe sometime, is have an enemy that has a very high damage factor in idle state. That means when you hit it in idle state, you make initial very high damage and then it has a reduced damage again. But that actually just encourages people to just backstab enemies all the time, which they already do, so it's probably a bad idea. Anyway, so you see, we can, in each state, we can make arbitrary changes to the enemy. We can change the acceleration speed. We can change the hit stable factor, so it's actually more resistant or more vulnerable to different attack types. We can change the sound type, though you don't want to. You can set bounciness, like all kind of properties. You see, there are a lot of properties, and would take forever to explain them all, but you can all define them here and change them if necessary. We won't do this though, because we're just going to define the choices for this enemy. Choices are a list of actions connected to conditions that and they're used for enemy to decide what action to take at each moment in time. It's more like there's a certain cycle. It's the enemy is there in a state and doesn't perform any action. So it's going to look at the choices. It's going to check all the choices it has with all the conditions, and the first choice, which condition is fulfilled, it's just going to execute. And when executing a choice, it means you can do an action. You don't have to, but you can, most of the time you will perform an action. And then you might just change the state after that action, or maybe even before that action. That's the option post-switch state. So just to give you a few examples. The very first choice in the idle mode is, if you have a target, that means, oh, now actually you have something you want to kill, just switch to the default state. So we just do that. So that's the first option, and it's the first option because whenever you have a target and you're in idle state, just immediately get out of the idle state. That's important. The second one is just if for some reason the spawn point distance is not, that's actually what the exclamation mark is here for, it's not between 0 and 64, 46. That means you're far away from your spawn point. If that happens, just move back to your spawn point. Third,
Felix?
yes?
Well, yeah, go on. Finish that first.
Yeah, third one is if for some random factor like 30% randomness, just move around randomly and otherwise just stay still. That's like the behavior defined for the idle state, which is pretty boring. But yeah, question or something? Or something else?
God damn it, I was just eating.
God damn it, Hannah. Stop eating.
No, actually, where is it? Yeah, they should shoot ink and try to color the ground. And then Lea should also color the ground with ink.
God damn it, this thing really looks like our enemy. Holy crap. Shit.
I know.
Oh wait, but ours has like wings which look like from mosquito. So that's totally different. We are safe.
I mean, it's a seahorse. How else is it supposed to look?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so sorry, I just didn't listen. Did I have to listen?
It was basically a joke. Like it should shoot ink, and
Mm.
Leia should then also shoot ink or throw ink, and then who
No, we don't do any
ground
Splatoon
wins.
crossover. It's okay. um, anyway, so that's are the states defined for the Seahorse and Idle. Didn't change anything, but I'm gonna save anyway. Let's go to default. Default is like the state we are in when we are in combat. Again, first thing first, if you don't have a target for whatever reason because the player just ran away, just go back to idle. That's the first action to take, because then it's like, whatever, man, give up. There's no target, nothing to attack. Let's just relax.
It's the Indiegogo move.
The Indiegogo move, exactly. The whatever, man move. So next action, if the target for some reason is not reachable, which in our case means the distance is over 200, and something is in between, or something's in between, are the throwing distance, it's just if the target is not reachable close enough, we're gonna do the adjust movement. Adjust means we try to get close to the player. Actually, there are two options here now. There's a distance where we define how close exactly do we have to be to the enemy. If I make this larger, like 300, it will just try to adjust the distance when the player is really far away. But I think 200 is actually pretty nice. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the throwing option to true, because our enemy is actually throwing stuff. Our system is actually made in a way that it understands that, let's assume here's a platform, here's some chasm, and then here's another platform, here's our player, and here's the enemy. Then the enemy would just shoot over the chasm, even though it could not move over the chasm, because the throwing option is true here. It will simply ignore chasm, say I can just shoot over that, that's no problem. So since our enemy is going to use ranged attacks mostly, I'm going to set throwing to true. Okay, next we come already to the attack movements. Attack movements, these are actually now the attack movements from our original Frobit enemy. It has two attacks, Uber Kick and Jump Kick. Let's just do one action first. Now the condition of this move is always, which might be a bit misleading. That means there's actually no requirement. So we'll think this move is always executed, but that's actually not the case. That's something we just recently added. There's also a frequency option. The frequency option says, yeah, I'm just gonna do this all the time if it's available, because the frequency kind of like manages how often an attack it happens, and it does not only take into account a counter for one enemy, but it actually takes also into account a counter for all enemies at once. There's actually a global counter that makes sure that enemies just don't bash you all at the same time, because it's actually kind of sucks to play. So you want to make sure that the enemy kind of spreads animations, so they kind of like wait and you don't have all animations spawn at you at the same time. And that's what the frequency takes care of. And you can define how often does it happen. So like normally, sometimes, it's rare, or it's very rare, or you just spam it like all the time. And I think often is actually a pretty good option here, because if enemies are shooting stuff, it's not too annoying, it's not too dangerous, so they can actually do it pretty often. The meerkats have the often option when they throw stuff at you. The action, right now we only have the Uber Kick. Let's just change it to Jump Kick. We're gonna change this one later. This one is actually gonna be the bubble shoot or something, and we're gonna define this one soon. Okay, that's the attack. I mean, I deleted the other attack, and now finally we have this timer ready move. So next, if you just consider this action, I mean, these attacks are not just about getting close to the player, going back to the idle state. That's just you don't notice this during combat usually. And then there's the attack. If you define just an enemy like this, it will just stand still, make sure to get close to the player, and then attack when ready. That's actually pretty boring, because sometimes you want the enemy to just move around. It just makes the battle more interesting, more dynamic, and that's why we have this sub-step here. Actually, that's something we can do. We can just define one condition, and then below this condition we can define more conditions to execute if that one is true. What we do here is we have the condition if the timer is ready with the name move. Now timers are actually a very important concept for our enemies. They just define how often an action can be performed. The timer can be initialized up here. You can say the move timer at the very beginning is either something between 0 and 3 seconds. And then this one gets just decreased until it's 0, and when it's ready, so the timer is 0, then timer ready is true, and then we're gonna do one of these moves here. The first one here is, that's now again from the Frobit. It actually has two things it does. The first is a dodge jump, it just jumps over the player. The other one is cycle, which just moves around the player. I'm just gonna remove the dodge jump here because that's something our enemy won't do. At least I try to remove it. Please don't, yeah, it works, I don't know. So the cycle movement, I think, is actually something we can do for our enemy. And I'm just gonna say, yeah, just gonna leave it like this. We call this move the cycle move. And after you executed that action, we're just gonna reset the move timer to be something between 1 and 3 seconds. That's also important, so whenever you perform an action inside your state, you can just reset the move option afterwards. And that's it. So finally we have the target reachable option, which, yeah, this is like if your target is like, if you have nothing else to do and the target is like kind of far away, like not too far away, but 120 pixels, more than 120, it's kind of far away, then just get closer. Actually, that's something we are not going to do because our enemy is going to use ranged attacks. We don't need this action, we're just going to remove it. And in last resort, if there's nothing else to do, just idle, as always. So that's the default state, at least for now. That's something you're going to extend and balance. A lot of the balancing actually happens here. So that's so much about states. Is actually anybody listening to what stuff I'm saying? Anyway, any questions here? Anything?
Yes, I was.
Cool.
I was, but I was eating, so I turned my mic off.
Cool. So, are there any questions that I missed? Why has nobody suggested rainbows? Oh,
yeah,
shit.
that's a good question. I think we should even go further. It should shoot rainbow dashes.
Oh shit, but those might be rather large, but we can just microscopic small rainbow dashes. I really like this. We can make it shoot Pokeballs, but we can maybe only do this or during the stream, and then remove it before we get Super Nintendo. Sudden natural urge and you got
That's just Atlesa is.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yes. Well, I think rainbow dashes would be a bit overpowered because, I mean, they would be homing and they would cause atomic explosions.
And make 20% more damage.
Make 20% more damage, yeah, of course. And they would be almost impossible to avoid.
Yes. So much about our states here. Now let's go to the actions. Actions are, for those who work with the RPG Maker, you may know this move event, or I think it was called move event, wasn't
it? What?
In RPG Maker, was it called move event?
Yeah, it was move event, alright,
exactly.
I think.
So in RPG Maker was this famous or infamous move event where you can just make some entity or event in the game move around. You can start, take one step to the left, take one step up, and now jump.
Durch.
Yeah, start slip through. That's some strange translation. So you can make the entity move essentially. Somehow I like this concept, but it was kind of limited in RPG Maker. In our engine, we just took this concept and made it very extensible. Because we just wrote the engine, any feature can define new steps that you can do inside an action. So just to give an expression what you can do in action, here's a small list. That's all the stuff we already implemented that you can do inside an action. You can, so there's a lot of stuff. I mean, just to give some example, you can you can move around. It's like move forward, move backward, move to entity distance, move to a point, move to a direction, move to the line, whatever that means. I'm actually not sure. Move random, move to a distance, remove a shield. Oh yeah, there's move inside remove. Okay, and do damage movement. What's do damage? Oh yes, this one is actually simulating the movement you do when you're hit by something. Sometimes you want to do this. Anyway, then there's like, you can focus a camera, you can reset the camera, you can set the camera zoom, you can shake the screen, or it's actually rumble code. Like, you can rumble the screen. Or, I don't know, you can tackle. That's actually one action that's used. You can do a circle, a target, or circle target is a circle target is a movement option actually. Circle attack is where you just have a swing movement, but we actually use the same option to also do explosions. It's actually recycled for that. Recycled. Yeah. We can make everything. We can use add darkness to make things darker. That's actually something we use in the Rookie Harbor dungeon. We can, and of course navigation. Whenever we have movements, movement is cool, but navigation is better, because navigate means it actually avoids all the things that are in the way. So you have navigate to target, navigate escape target, that means you run away from the target, navigate sideways, so you just navigate sideways to the target to just get somewhere else. That's actually something that we're gonna do for the cycle movement. You navigate to an entity, navigate escape entities. That's the same as target, only that you can specify one particular entity inside the map. You navigate to a point or to a spawn point. That's actually something we use in the move to spawn point movement. So you see, there's a lot of stuff, and nothing we can fully like list here and explain here. It's also a list that will continue to expand. So whenever you do an enemy, we think, it would be nice if that enemy could do that and that thing. We're just gonna add a new action. So that's why we have a lot of action steps by now. But this system actually worked surprisingly well. So for everybody who's interested in doing game engines, I can think that's a good thing to do. So far it works pretty well, doing like this kind of step-by-step action definition thing and just making a system where you can easily add new steps. Probably combined with an editor where you can just easily integrate those steps. That's something we wrote as well, obviously. And it works pretty well. I'm actually pretty proud about this system. So, but now let's actually do some actions. So the idle movement is just face to target, set to true. That means, okay, now you look at the target, then you just wait randomly between 0.1, 0.3 seconds. That's okay, we don't need to change anything here. Move to spawn point means set relative speed means that we will make sure it's not running at full speed, but maybe only half the speed. So we set it to 0.5. And then we say navigate to spawn point. That's the option that just makes it move back to the spawn point. We set as a maximum timer. That means it will move about 3 seconds and then will stop. Usually that means it will just repeat the movement if it didn't reach the target yet, but it's always good to specify a max timer, because otherwise there's always a danger that your entity for some reason just get deadlocked because it's just stuck somewhere. So it's always good to specify a max timer. It makes it more stable. Maximum distance means like you want to get close to the spawn point, but you don't have to stand exactly on top of it, but 16 pixels distance are okay. You don't need to be precise, just get somewhere around it. So that's like navigate to spawn point. That's done too. We don't need to change anything here. Move randomly, it's set jumping to false. Yeah, that's actually a good thing. Again, it's just relative speed. Don't jump when you move around randomly, because that's something that happened originally that was kind of annoying. They were just moving and then there was a stone somewhere in the way and just jumped on top of it, but it was not really necessary. So don't jump. Move around randomly, it's just one step. Here you can specify minimum, maximum amount of time, and then you just wait some random time. Nothing new here. It's just let them move around a bit. Okay. Adjust is more interesting. That's now the step where we want to get close to the player. We actually don't also need to change much here. We set the speed that you want to use. That's actually something, it's actually very relevant for balancing now. We can, if you can make it different, you can make a very relaxed enemy. It's like, yeah, when the enemy's player slow, I'll just take my time. So like a third of my, like 30% of my maximum speed is enough. I will just very slowly get close to my target. Just let's do this for the enemy for testing. And they just move for up to 100 pixels distance, like 100 pixels or below, and a maximum of 1 second. Again, if this one exceeded, usually we just repeat the same action over and over again, but again, it makes it more stable to define a maximum time. So that's already our adjust action. Just move to your target somehow. That's one step. But as I said, just tweaking these kind of ways is actually very important. It really changes the way the enemy is perceived in the game. like changing details like how fast the enemy moves, how close does it get to the player, and how does it react in what situation. So now jump kick and Überkick are two actions that we don't do. I'm just first gonna remove the Überkick. I don't know. Just also gonna I'm also gonna remove the jump kick.
Is it the favorite attack of Nietzsche?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I just like to use the Überkick. I like to word the Uber for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm German.
Yes, I mean you're German.
So okay, I'm just gonna.
By the way, we have a question.
Shot. Yes. Shoot the question.
Peng Peng. Why do you use Impact and not RPG Maker?
Because RPG Maker sucks. No, it doesn't really, but you couldn't do a game like CrossCode and RPG Maker. It's essentially impossible. It's not possible. Even the new versions, I think.
It's too limited, and the performance of the new version is not adequate for the thing we're doing.
Yeah, just the very basic thing. Our game actually has 3 dimensions. RPG Maker only has 2 dimensions, pretty much. I think they have new versions have a more complex layer system. I think you, at least in XP, you could have an arbitrary amount of layers, and you could do complex rendering and stuff. But it's nothing close to what we can do with our engine, really. And that's kind of like we can really define 3 dimensions. You can jump on top of stuff. You can walk below on stuff in arbitrary times. So it's more like a Alundra. You couldn't do a Alundra in RPG Maker, I think. So that's in essence why we can't use RPG Maker, really. And it's kind of like I always miss these kind of options when I was working with RPG Maker 2000, because that's where I came from. So I just implemented those things in our engine, essentially. And this is actually not just pure Impact.js, it's essentially our own engine by these days, because Impact also has only 2 dimensions, but we extended the engine to support 3 dimensions. Okay, let's do the bubble test. Actually, I think I will not do the bubble shoot now. I'm just gonna save this for later. I'm just want to let's just wait here for a second. Literally. Wait a second. No, let's make it 2/10 of a second. 10 seconds. 10 Sekunden. What's 10 Sekunden in English? I don't know. 10 seconds. Tenths of a second. 2/10 of a second. That's horrible. Anyway. We also don't need the dodge jump. I'm also going to remove this. The cycle movement is something I want to quickly go through. Again, here we can see if we want to target the entity or not. Actually, I think in this case I'm going to say true, because it's flying, it kind of looks plausible if it looks sideways when flying, like keep looking to the target. So I'm going to remove this, so it just will keep looking at the player while moving sideways. Again, I can specify the speed. 0.7 seems a bit fast. I mean, I want this enemy to be a bit more relaxed somehow. So, and again, navigate sideways targets is one of these steps that will just move you not to the target, but not away, but somewhere in between. Just move around to kind of keep the distance to the player. And distance here actually means how far sideways do you want to move. And this variance means how much more do you want to move sideways, just in case there's something in the way. And again, you can make throwing, and I'm going to set this to true, because we will throw attack the players to a spot where there might be a chasm between you and the player. That's totally cool. Plan only is actually an interesting option. I'm not going to explain now because it will take too long. So now with these kind of options, I think we might be able to get an enemy that will not just be being stuck somewhere, hopefully. Let's see how it works. What I will now expect is an enemy that will just move around you and will get close to you if you get too far away, and but won't do any attack yet. So yeah, first thing I'm going to do is attack it. So attack me, attack me. You see, like, you see how it's moving sideways sometimes, like here. And there, if I get too far away, you can see how it gets a bit closer. Like you see, it's actually trying to get close, but it's not attacking. So that's actually pretty boring. So next we're gonna add some balls, and then we just gonna make it shoot those balls. Okay, so the first thing is I'm just gonna open another enemy file of the infamous cargo crab. You can actually see now the huge cargo crab boss. It's one of the most complex enemies, obviously, so far. We're probably gonna have more complex in the future. Way more complex enemies. The file is called boss test. It's probably something we're gonna rename sometime because it's not really a test anymore. It's like all the enemies you can do. You can see some of these attacks can be pretty long if they're complex enough. So just it's not like attacks usually consist of like 3 to 4 steps. There might be very long steps. Like
Yeah,
the hit attack is crazy long. Anyway, so what I want to copy is the bubble attack, the ball here. Like people suggest, yeah, let's just take the bubbles, and that's an awesome idea because I don't have to do any graphics. That's amazing. So I'm just gonna copy things. So like I call this the bubble. I still want my cheese though. Animation. No. I've forgotten I. So here actually we are still lacking a proper editor. It's something we're gonna implement sometime. You know, implementing editors takes time, and you want to make sure not to waste all your time writing editors, even though we sometimes like to do that. So I'm just going to copy. Usually you should be able to just copy the whole object here, but for some reason it's not working. There's some small bug here that I probably gotta fix sometime. I actually plan to make it able that you can just copy values from in this kind of generic editor. So whenever you have like a named list of things, you can just copy it. That's something I plan to implement sometime soon. So anyway, just gonna copy those things. I can also quickly explain you all these properties after I copy it. Because these are balls. Balls are also kind of complex. I mean, obviously, we write a game about balls, so our balls are gonna be rather complex. There's a lot of stuff you can do with them. Animation just defines how the ball looks like. In our case, it's just a bubble. It's not really a ball, but close enough. It's round and it flies to something somewhere. Effects just defines what kind of effects we display when the bubble hits, for instance, a wall or just disappears and things like this. We just use some generic old effect here because people actually don't notice for some reason. Speed defines how fast the ball is flowing, very important value. 150 seems it's like about as fast. I actually think I will make it slightly faster because I think the balls of the crab were really slow. And they only work because it was very slow in general. Max bounce, this means how often can this ball actually bounce on a wall until it destroys itself. This one actually doesn't bounce at all, 0, that's correct. Time defines how long this ball is flying before it disappears. 3 seconds, I think that's about right. We can just keep it. Now, attack, this one is a property that you will define for all kind of attacks. It's like always the same construct. You just define the type of the attack. There actually is several types. If I had it somewhere else, I could actually show you the options. Here we are lacking the proper editor, so I have to write it here by hand. But light is like almost the lightest. There's also none, which means there's like nothing happened, but you still get damage. There's medium, which is a bit heavier. That's like for charge balls, they would have medium. And actually, they have heavy. Medium is more like close combat, normal close combat, not the finisher, have medium hit. Heavy is like the one for the close combat finisher or for charged balls. Then we got massive. Yes, we got massive attacks for massive damage. That's like the one that really hits you very strongly. I think it's actually about the highest type we have. And there's also break. Break is special. You shouldn't use break all that often. I think break really means it breaks no matter what happens. So when you have break, it will just break no matter what, and it might actually result in bugs, so you shouldn't do that. Massive's really the maximum you should use. But in this case, I think light's actually pretty good because these are supposed to be slow projectiles. They're just annoying. A lot of them are spawned, but they don't do a lot of damage. That's like the attack behavior when one of these balls hit the target. Let's talk about behaviors. That's actually So far it's not used all that much, but there's potentially a very powerful system to define how boats will behave when they fly around.